Hello, young children. Are you interested in traveling at an increased speed?
Wow. So this is what it's like to be happy. If only Flower could see me now.
Low-effort Sonic memes aside, your old Uncle Me is back. But instead of questionable seafood from an outdoor market, I've got a funky fresh build that's closer to meme than dream, packs a serious punch, and most importantly, is silly fun to play. So without further ado, let's do the damn thing. We're checking out a build that comes from the depths of my underground labs that I like to call the ZIPPITY-ZAM PALLA-DAN. I know what you're thinking. What a well thought out and smart name. To which I'd respond, I know. The primary objective of this build is to use Rune of Callistor to melt your enemies before finishing them off with the power of your ramming speed torso, with a non-existent cooldown dash in the form of Vire's might. The core of this build comes from the Skybreaker Circlet and Zarthuzelin's Archive. Between these two items, Vire's might can be close to a 1-second cooldown, which, between the actual travel time of the ability and the cast time for our other abilities, is essentially a 0-second cooldown. Another aspect of the Skybreaker Circlet is its 100% fire to lightning conversion on Rune of Callistor. Couple that with the Martin's Crest Medal, and our Rune of Callistor is doing pure lightning damage while hitting much harder. Other notable exceptions in our gear include the Dawnshard Hauberk, which gives us a bonus to Rune of Callistor, a very useful fire to lightning damage conversion, and a powerful proc that reduces enemy damage. Bloodlord's Vengeance, which increases the duration of Ascension by 3 seconds, allowing us to have a very consistent uptime on Ascension, as well as a 100% piercing to fire damage conversion, which brings all of our Vire's Might damage under the fire/lightning umbrella. And the Wormbone Handguards, which offers a bonus to artifact handling, as well as another strong damage dealing proc. The rest of the gear has many of those usual suspects starring Kevin Spacey, including but not limited to the Serenity Relic, which is a mainstay in most of my builds for the powerful Circuit Breaker, Kaizen's Eldritch Eye for the heaps of stun resistance as well as the +1 to all skills, and Kubacabra's Chausis for the handful of useful stats and the +3 bonus to Tectonic Shift. Our devotions are going to look very similar to those of the Lightning Conjurer, with Ultos, Shepherd of Storms, Rowan's Crown, Tempest, Widow, and Bat for consistent damage output and resistance reduction, as well as Giant's Blood, Chariot of the Dead, and Solemn Watcher for strong defenses. In the Inquisitor tree, we max out Stormbox of Elgoloth, as it scales decently with our primary damage type, but more importantly, it shreds defensive ability, giving us a de facto bonus 140 defensive ability. A single point in Word of Pain and all of its modifiers is a fairly useful utility spell that doubles as an outlet for our offensive devotion procs. Deadly Aim is one of the strongest offensive buffs in the entire game, so it of course gets 12 out of 12 points, while Word of Renewal is a great defensive tool, so it gets just enough points in the base skill and its modifier, Vigor, to be at the soft cap. Rune of Callistor and its modifier Ignition, and the ancillary buff Artifact Handling are our primary damage dealers, so all three get maxed out. Finally, Aura of Sensor is a no-brainer, since our build will constantly be in the mix, and another source of elemental resistance reduction is a very welcome addition for our lightning fire damage spread. In Oathkeeper, we stop at 32 points, which unlocks 3 very powerful nodes. Presence of Virtue and Haven give us flat offensive ability and % bonus health, which no build will turn down. A single point in Resilience is a soft circuit breaker on a low cooldown, which is always useful, and Ascension and Clarity of Purpose makes us incredibly resilient while giving us a massive 15% offensive ability. The Guardian of Empyrean, while not a consistent source of damage, is a wonderful devotion bot. Finally, the skill that puts the Zippity and the ZIPPITY-ZAM PALLA-DAN, Vire's Might. Get as many points as possible in the base skill as well as Volcanic Stride for maximum damage output. The modifier, Tectonic Shift, reduces the cooldown of the base skill by 0.1 seconds per rank for the first 12 points, making it very necessary to be at least soft capped there. Any points over 12, however, suffer severe diminishing returns, giving us another 0.1 seconds of cooldown for every 3 points. I left this ability at 15 out of 12 as I felt the last 0.1 second made the build feel more cohesive. You should play with this number until it feels right for you. The build is the definition of a power farmer. If you're looking for a character that can mop the floor with Shattered Realms and Crucible Waves in record times, this build can do it lickety-split, and you'll have a blast doing it. The absurd mobility means you'll never get surrounded and you'll rarely stay in place long enough to take any meaningful damage. If you do find yourself in a rough spot, you've got a plethora of defensive tools to keep yourself alive. The damage output is medium to medium high. It'll never do as much as a stand and fight build, but Rune of Callistor absolutely puts in work, and anything left standing will have to weather the storm of Vire's might spam. That's going to do it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe, click all my buttons so YouTube shows this to other people who also might enjoy it. Also, if you want to see a gameplay video of the build that you just saw, that's going up on my channel shortly after this is posted. Before I go, I'd like to ask, what kind of builds do you want to see in the future? Also, I'm going to be doing a book signing at the Shoney's by the Beltway if you want to come down and say hi. If you have to ask which Shoney's, you're probably not welcome.